Hello and welcome. Today, we're not just reciting a list of system design terms. Instead, we're building a mental framework, a practical cheat sheet for making better architectural decisions. We'll move beyond the textbook definitions to explore the nuanced trade-offs that separate robust, scalable systems from fragile ones. This is for the architects, leads, and developers who are on the front lines, building the systems of tomorrow. Let's dive in. Everyone in this room knows the CAP theorem: consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. Pick two. But this is an oversimplification that can lead to poor design choices in the real world, where network partitions are a given. So the actual choice is always between consistency and availability. A more useful model is the Pacel-C theorem. It states that in the case of a partition, P, a system must choose between availability, A, and consistency. Else, when the system is running normally, it must choose between latency, L, and consistency. This reframes the conversation. Are you building a banking system where consistency is non-negotiable, even if it means higher latency during normal operations? Or are you building a social media feed where high availability and low latency are paramount and eventual consistency is acceptable? Pacel-C forces you to consider the trade-offs during both failure modes and normal operations, leading to a much more resilient and user-aligned design.
Load balancing is more than just distributing traffic evenly. A naive round-robin approach treats all servers and all requests as equal, which is rarely the case. Intelligent load balancing considers the state of the system and the nature of the request. Let's consider two advanced strategies. The least connections method is stateful. It directs traffic to the server with the fewest active connections. This is ideal for workloads where session durations vary significantly, preventing one server from getting bogged down with long-running tasks. Then there's IP hash. This algorithm creates a hash of the client's IP address to determine which server receives the request. The key benefit? It ensures that a user is consistently routed to the same server. This is critical for applications that rely on sticky sessions, where user session data is stored locally on a web server. Choosing the right strategy isn't about which is best, but which best aligns with your application's specific state management and performance requirements.
Caching is one of the most powerful levers for improving performance, but its implementation details matter immensely. Let's look at three critical patterns. First, the cache-aside pattern. Here, the application is responsible for managing the cache. It first checks the cache for data. On a miss, it queries the database, then writes the result into the cache before returning it. This gives developers fine-grained control but adds complexity to the application logic. Next is the read-through pattern. The cache itself is responsible for fetching data from the database on a miss. The application code is simpler. It just talks to the cache. This is great for read-heavy workloads. Finally, the write-back or write-behind pattern. Data is written directly to the cache, which acknowledges the write immediately. The cache then asynchronously writes that data back to the database after a delay. This offers extremely low write latency, but introduces a risk of data loss if the cache fails before the data is persisted. Understanding these patterns allows you to deliberately choose the right balance between performance, consistency, and complexity. If there's one core takeaway from our discussion, it's this: system design is the art of the intentional trade-off. There are no universally best solutions, only solutions that are best for a specific context. Whether it's choosing between latency and consistency with Pacel-C, selecting a load balancing strategy that matches your session requirements, or implementing a caching pattern that aligns with your data's volatility, every decision has consequences. Your role as an architect or senior developer is not to know every technology, but to master the skill of asking the right questions and understanding the first-order and second-order effects of your choices. So, the next time you're at the whiteboard, start by framing the problem not as "what should we build," but as "what are we willing to trade?" That shift in perspective is the foundation of truly great system design.